Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Jay Lay, bringing you guys a 2023 NFL draft grade of the Patriots. The draft is officially over. It ended earlier today on the 29th of April, and it was a crazy draft. A lot of trades, a lot of crazy trades, a lot of surprise picks, a lot of reaches, crazy draft in general. I was very excited to watch. I watched all 3 days from start to finish. I was very excited to watch it. I had a great time watching it and all of that. But in this video, we are specifically going to be talking about the Patriots draft. And if you're wondering why I'm choosing the Patriots, it's because I am a major Patriots fan. If you didn't know that already, I love the Patriots. I've been watching the Patriots since I was a kid. I'm a major fan of them. And I also have family from Boston and the East Coast, so that's why I'm a major Patriots fan. Anyways, though, I was thinking about doing a biggest winners and losers from the draft, which I still might do that. I'm still thinking of other ideas I can do related to the draft, biggest winners and losers, best winners for fantasy values, and just a bunch of different draft ideas I can do for videos that I'll still do. But the first one I wanted to do was the Patriots and just grade all of their picks from their first pick to their last pick. They had a very interesting draft. It kind of started out really well, their first couple picks, and then it kind of went downhill. A lot of people were kind of questioning Bill, and, kind of like every draft, the Patriots always do some questionable things. And then the end I really liked. So it was a good draft overall, though. I think the Patriots did improve most of their major needs. And let's just get to it. I'm going to be talking about every single one of their picks and just giving it a grade and then an overall draft grade at the end. So without further ado, let's just get to the video. So with the first pick the Patriots had, they were originally sitting there at pick 14 like they were going into the draft. However, Christian Gonzalez fell to them. A lot of people thought the Lions were going to take Christian Gonzalez at pick 12. They traded out of pick 6 with the Cardinals, and a lot of people, including myself, thought Christian Gonzalez was going to be their guy at 12. Obviously, that was not the case. They went with Jahmyr Gibbs. So Christian Gonzalez is on the board at pick 14, as well as Jackson Smith and Jigba. They could get any cornerback besides Seven Witherspoon and any receiver they want, and they traded down. They traded down with the Steelers for pick 17. They flip-flopped first rounders and then got an additional fourth rounder, pick 120. I was very nervous because I thought Christian Gonzalez was going to for sure go to Washington at pick 16, and I didn't really know what we were doing at the time. But in hindsight, it was an A++ move. The Patriots not only traded down, got an extra draft pick, and still managed to land Christian Gonzalez, but the Steelers jumped in front of the Jets and took Broderick Jones. So not only did we trade down, get an extra pick, and pick 120 in the fourth round, still land Christian Gonzalez, but Bill Belichick managed to fleece the Jets by taking away the left tackle, because had Broderick Jones fell one more pick to the Jets, then they would have without a doubt taken Broderick Jones. So it was a great move by the Patriots and the Steelers, and I think it was amazing because not only did you fleece the Jets, but they're a division rival, and that was a major trade for the Patriots. Absolutely fleece the Jets, and then they spent the whole 10 minutes on the clock, so they were really looking to trade down, or they didn't know who to take. They ended up going for Will McDonald, which I thought was a pretty interesting pick. I didn't think it was that good of a pick. They kind of had to reach. I thought it was, and it really shows that trade fleeced the Jets, because they were without a doubt going to take Broderick Jones, get a left tackle to protect Aaron Rodgers, but thankfully the Steelers traded up to take him, and I thought it was a win-win. So the first pick of the draft for the Patriots was Christian Gonzalez at pick 17, an A++, fleeced the Jets, got an extra draft pick, and still managed to land the best cornerback in the class. And I'm really going to be excited to watch Christian Gonzalez play. I think he's going to make an immediate impact. He's going to be starting at left cornerback, and then backing him up will be Marcus Jones. So obviously you can use Marcus Jones as a rotational piece, very versatile, so you can plug him in where you want. And I think that secondary is going to be dominant, as well as the whole defense in 2023. This draft was it was a great draft, and we'll talk about it later, some of the other picks, but I'm very excited to see that secondary. Christian Gonzalez was really the one type of cornerback that the Patriots lacked. They needed a big, tall, physical, aggressive cornerback, and Christian Gonzalez is exactly that. So I'm very excited. I think it is an A++ first pick for the draft for the Patriots, and I'm very excited to see it get to work. So A++ is my final overall grade for the pick 17, Christian Gonzalez to the Patriots. Next up at pick 46, we have the Patriots taking Keon White, edge rusher out of Georgia Tech, and I really like this pick. I was kind of hoping they'd go receiver there at pick 46. There wasn't a lot of positional value there for a receiver, so they went ahead and took the best prospect on the board, defensive edge rusher Keon White, and I really like this pick. He has the size, the positional versatility, and the athleticism to play several techniques along that defensive front, and I think adding him helps improve a positional group that was kind of an under-the-radar need for the Patriots entering the draft. And I think he's going to be a guy who's going to see a lot of playing time early on in his career, like this season. I think he could see a lot of time on the field. And I'm looking at the depth chart right now. I think he's kind of be the second string guy behind Dietrich Wise Jr. And that defensive front was kind of lacking that explosive, kind of powerful, freak athlete guy, and Keon White is exactly that. The thing I love about Keon White is he's so versatile, and you wouldn't expect someone like his size to be able to drop back in zone or in coverage. And I remember there was one route or one play in particular from his college highlight reel where he actually dropped and covered a running back on a wheel route, which is something you wouldn't really expect from a guy like Keon White, but he can do it all. I don't think you want him to live on the outside just because he's not very bendy, but you can put him on the inside. He can play on the outside. He can do about anything you want on the defensive front, and just a freak athlete. It might take a little time to develop into a true kind of star, but I think within the first year or two, he's really going to develop and become a star for the Patriots. So I like it. I give it a B+. Again, there wasn't much value at the time. I think Josh Downs was still on the board, though, I believe, but anyways, there wasn't much positional value for a receiver, so I was totally okay with them taking Keon White. Even if there was, I'm still glad they went with Keon White because, like I said, I think the defensive front was kind of an under-the-radar need coming into the draft, and I think it is going to be a lockdown now in 2023. Next up, at pick 76, the Patriots went ahead and they took linebacker Marte Mapu. Now, I like this pick a lot. This guy was projected to go anywhere from the 5th to the undrafted free agency round, which isn't really a round, but he was projected to go a lot later in the draft. Now, normally I'm not a big fan of Bill reaching for guys like this who are kind of under-the-radar type players, but this particular one I am very high on because Marte Mapu is very, very versatile. He can play just about anything. He can play strong safety, free safety, middle linebacker, outside linebacker. He can drop back in coverage at linebacker. Very, very versatile. Now, he went to Sacramento State, and the reason he was going to fall, or projected to fall at least, was because of a torn pectoral muscle, I believe, which kind of hurt his draft stock. I think it was like over this. It was over last season, I believe. He tore his one of his pectoral muscles, which was going to kind of hurt his draft stock. But the Patriots saw him, and they knew what they were getting out of him, so they went ahead and used their 3rd round pick 76 on him, and I really like it. Again, it was kind of a reach just because, like I said, he was probably going to be there in like the 5th, 6th round, maybe even gone undrafted, which I think the Patriots could have waited, at least another round. They had 4 4th rounders. They could have gotten him there, but we all know how Bill Belichick thinks, and if he sees a guy who's projected to go, later rounds, he doesn't mess around. He doesn't take a chance, and I like it. I like the aggressiveness. I think he's going to be great for this defense. There's nothing more that Bill Belichick loves than a versatile defensive player who, like I said, Marte Mapu, they have him listed on the depth chart as a strong safety backing up Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar, but, if he needs to fill a role at linebacker, he can. Our linebacker class, or our linebacker depth chart, is a little bit weak, so he could be plugged into like outside linebacker, potentially maybe free safety, strong safety, anywhere he wants to go. Really, they can put him there and kind of develop him. So I'm very excited. I like the pick. Again, maybe could have waited till like the 4th round. They did have 4 4th rounders, so I give it a C+. I am very excited to see him develop, and he's a hard hitter, great player. Like I said, very versatile, and I like it. It's a C+ just because I felt like they could have waited till maybe the 4th round to get him. I believe there was still, I think Jalen Hyatt was still on the board. Like there was still pretty good depth. No, I think Jalen Hyatt just went off the board like a pick earlier. But anyways, I think, there was still some other positional value there at pick 76, but I like it, though. I'm excited to see him play. So we'll get to C+ for me, and I'm excited to see Marte Mapu play. So up next, at pick 107, day 3 of the draft is just starting. Round 4 is beginning, and this is where the draft took a bit of a downhill turn for the next couple picks. Now, Jake Andrews, pick 107. He's a center out of Troy. I like this pick. I like it because he's very versatile. He can play left or right guard. He's probably going to be David Andrews' replacement when he goes. He's not going to be here much longer. I imagine this is probably going to be his final year. He's getting older, and so I do like the idea that we do get a developmental center to sit behind David Andrews for a year and then take over at center when he's gone. I also like him because he's very versatile and can play left or right guard. He may even be starting at right guard this season, and I will explain why in a minute when we go over the next draft pick, because Bill Belichick played the board almost as if he thinks Jake Andrews will be playing at either left or right guard. And again, it's kind of confusing. I'll talk about it more in a minute when I show one of the next picks the Patriots choose. So I like this pick. I don't think it was much of a reach, but this is kind of the area where I think the draft kind of slumped for the Patriots. But I do like this pick. I give it a B. I like the versatility in the interior offensive line, and I like that he will most likely be the long-term replacement for David Andrews at center. So it gets a B for me. Jake Andrews at pick 107. So right here at pick 112, this is probably the lowest point in the Patriots draft. They traded up 8 picks in a 6th-rounder, jumped up in front of they traded up with the Jets to the 112th overall pick. Now, who did they trade up for? Who did they give up a 6th-rounder and flip-flop 4th-rounders with or for? Was it for a receiver? Was it for another cornerback, a safety, a tackle? It was for a kicker. Chad Ryland out of Maryland, and I do not get this pick at all. I remember when they called the pick, I just kind of didn't even know what to think. I didn't know what to do. I don't know why they traded up 8 spots for a kicker who was going to be there probably in the 6th round. And this wasn't even the earliest a kicker went. The 49ers took one at pick 98, I believe. They took Jake Moody. So the Patriots traded up. I guess they saw Jake Moody was off the board, and they didn't want Chad Ryland to go early as well. So they traded up. They took Chad Ryland. And don't get me wrong, Chad Ryland is a beast. I was watching some of his tape after the draft, and I mean, he was nailing kicks. I think he had a career-long, like 54 yards in college, which is pretty crazy for college. So I am very excited he's on the team. I think that, Nick Folk is getting old. He's probably not going to be there much longer. So I think it's good that we have a long-term replacement for him, who may even start at the, beginning of the season if Nick Folk does retire or moves on. But I did not get the value of trading up. Like, I didn't get it at pick, like, if you take him in the 4th round, period, nevertheless to give up draft capital, and trade up for the kicker who was going to be there in 8 spots anyways. I imagine, man, I don't see any of the other teams taking a kicker in the 4th round. So, I mean, again, I think he's a great kicker. I'm glad we finally got a long-term kicker because, again, it looks like Nick Folk isn't going to be there much longer. But I do not understand why they traded up into the 4th round when they already had 3 more 4th rounders remaining. It didn't make sense to me, so I give it a D. I mean, again, I think Chad Ryland's great. I'm glad he's on the team, but I didn't get the value of trading up in the 4th round to get a kicker. So it gets a D for me, and especially when there were guys like A.T. Perry, and there was still very good wide receiver depth as well as tackle depth. I believe at this pick, DeJuan Jones was still on the board. It was either this pick or the pick before at Jake Andrews. DeJuan Jones, and the Patriots desperately need a right tackle, so I don't know. The value for a kicker was just not there, so it gets a D for me. Chad Ryland to the Patriots. Next up at pick 120, this being the pick they got from trading down with Pittsburgh, they went ahead and they took right guard Sidy Sow. I believe that's how you say his name, right? Sidy Sow. I'm going to call him Sidy Sow. I think that's how you say his name, right? And this pick is very interesting because they focused heavily on the interior offensive line this draft. They took a center, right guard, and then we'll see the next pick they go ahead and take a left guard. And there's really no need besides taking a developmental center who is versatile. And like I said, and Jake Andrews is probably going to be David Andrews' long-term replacement. But you already have close range at left guard, and you already have Michael Nweno at right guard. So I did not get the point of taking 2 guards. The only thing I can think with Sidy Sow is that they might try to flex him out, or Michael Nweno at right tackle. Michael Nweno was flexed out at right tackle last season while their right tackle was hurt. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Isaiah Wynn. He was flexed out at right tackle while Isaiah Wynn was hurt. He didn't do too great. He kind of struggled with being flexed in and out. So what I could see is they keep him as a pure right guard because that's where he's best, and they try to flex Sidy Sow out to right tackle. No one develops linemen like the Patriots. Obviously, Bill Belichick has a very special way he likes to develop linemen. He values linemen like no other coach in the league. So I am curious because I think that is a possibility. As they flex Sidy Sow to right tackle, he does have experience at right tackle. I believe he's a very versatile offensive lineman. So I think that it's either going to be Michael Nweno flex to right tackle and Sidy Sow takes over at right guard, or Michael Nweno stays purely at right guard and they choose Sidy Sow for right tackle. Now, if that works and if it does solve the need for a right tackle and you can still be good at right guard, then I'm a major fan of it. And I think it's going to be great for the Patriots. I think you got a good value there. But if not, and if it doesn't really pan out, or let's say Sidy Sow just stays at right guard as a second stringer and your right tackle problem isn't even addressed, then I think it's going to be a straight up F pick for me. I'm hoping though that they do plan on flexing one of them to right tackle, and if that does work, then I think it's going to be a great pick. But until then, I think it is a bit of a reach for the Patriots, and I hope I get proved wrong. Until then, I'm going to give it a C, but hopefully that they're able to flex one of them out to right tackle and they can kind of solidify that tackle position. It gets a C for me. I do think it's a bit of a reach, but hopefully with this upcoming season, I get proved wrong. So it's a C with Sidy Sow to New England. Next up at pick 144, round 5, the Patriots took Antonio Mafi, left guard out of UCLA. Now this is interesting because the 3 out of the last 4 picks have been interior offensive linemen. Jake Andrews at center, Sidy Sow at right guard, and now Antonio Mafi at left guard. So this one, I don't think it's as deep as Sidy Sow, where I think there could be some flexing movement where he could be at right tackle, right guard, move him around. I think Antonio Mafi is going to be primarily at guard. Now, left guard, he is going to be backing up Cole Strange primarily, I believe. but you could also move him to right guard, maybe center. I'm not sure how versatile Antonio Mafi is. I know he's not very versatile. I know he doesn't have any experience at tackle. Again, you probably could flex him over to right guard if you want, maybe center. But I do think Bill Belichick is going to be experimenting with this O-line over the offseason and moving a bunch of guys around. Maybe he tries to put Trent Brown at... One theory I thought is maybe he moves Trent Brown, who's the more experienced tackle, to right tackle, and then he takes someone like Antonio Mafi, puts him at left tackle, maybe Sidy Sow. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different things going on with this offensive line over the offseason. I think Antonio Mafi is going to be kind of more of a depth chart pick here, but I do think he also could be flexed around and moved around with the rest of this O-line, because I think Bill Belichick's going to do a lot of experimenting with this O-line, and it is very interesting to me that he took 3 interior offensive linemen. I think Trent Brown is going to be there at tackle, whether it's at left tackle or right tackle, but the big question is who is going to play right tackle, and he went ahead and took 3 interior offensive linemen, which I find very interesting. So I do believe there is going to be some movement around that offensive line with some of the guards. I'm curious to see what it is. Antonio Mafi, I don't know a whole lot about him, to be honest. I mocked him in one of my mock drafts of the Patriots in round 6, I believe. But I'm trusting Bill. I'm trusting he knows what he's doing. So it gets a C for me again. I want to be higher on some of these interior offensive linemen, but until I know more of what the plan is with Bill Belichick and this offensive line, I don't know. And to me, this is before we had a receiver, before the Patriots took a receiver. This is before, they got a safety, which they didn't even take a safety. I would have like them to take another safety. So I don't know. I mean, it's a C for me. If this was in like the 7th round and the Patriots already had all their major needs covered, then I would be a lot more okay with it. But with the Patriots still needing some pretty big picks here, I'm not a big fan of it. And again, I feel like it's kind of a reach, so it gets a C. But I do hope it pans out, and I do hope whatever the plan is with this offensive line, it works. But until then, I can't be very high on it. So Antonio Mafi at pick 144 gives a C. I also do apologize for the black bars on Antonio Mafi's picture. It's going to be like that for a few of the players. I believe I looked up pictures to try to find a good background for each pick, but there were some of them where I just couldn't get the full frame in. So Antonio Mafi, and I think a few of the other ones are going to have black bars, so I apologize. But for the most part, they don't have black bars. But yeah, just a quick apology for the black bars. Next up at pick 186, I believe it was 187, 187, round 60. Patriots went ahead and they took wide receiver Keyshawn Boutte out of LSU, and I was very happy he was still there, and I was very excited the Patriots finally went ahead and took a receiver. He's going to be the 2nd string left wide receiver, I believe. He might start over Devontae Parker, I doubt it, but I really like Keyshawn Boutte. Great hands, great route running skills, high upside. The only reason he fell this low, round 6, was because of the production. He didn't have very good production in 2022, but I think under this Bill O'Brien offense, he's going to be a beast. I think he's a steal in round 6, and I'm very excited to see him develop. And again, I believe with the right wide receivers in Tyquan Thornton and Kendrick Bourne, he's going to be the 2nd string receiver behind Devontae Parker on the left side of the field, I believe. But again, he can be flexed around. He's versatile. Who knows? But anyways, I'm very glad the Patriots managed to land a receiver in the 6th round. Great value out of him, and it gets a B+ for me, and I'm very excited to see Keyshawn Boutte get to work in this Patriots offense. Now, for the final 4 overall picks, I couldn't find background pictures for any of them, but I'll still talk about them. Pick 192 in the 6th round, they took Bryce Beringer. I believe that's how you say his name. He's a punter out of Michigan State. I thought it was fine. I think, you probably could have waited, 18 more picks till you get to number 210, which is their next pick, but I like it. You lost Michael Pilardi in the offseason, so go out and get another punter. I'm assuming he was great. I don't know too much punter film, but I trust him. I mean, I think it's great, whatever. It gets a B for me. Then they went ahead and they took Demario Douglas out of Liberty. He's a receiver. I really like Demario Douglas. I was actually looking at him earlier in the draft. I was like, oh, maybe the Patriots will land him later in the round, and they did. I'm very excited. I think he's pretty good. I think he is... How tall is he? I believe he's undersized, so he's not very tall, but he's very explosive. He's almost like a miniature Tank Dell, kind of an underrated Tank Dell. Not the tallest, not the biggest, but he's very explosive. I believe he also can work on special teams, which kind of reminds me of like a Marcus Jones type player. Not super big, but he's versatile. Can work on the offense as a slot receiver, I believe, and then also play on like the special teams, punt returner, kick returner, whatever. So I think it's a good pick. I'm very happy they landed him. I think you kind of need some versatility at that wide receiver position, get a fast, kind of deep threat type player, and they went ahead and they landed Demario Douglas out of Liberty. So I like that pick. I give it an A. I think they finally got some versatility on that receiving core. Next up at pick 214, the Patriots landed Ameer Speed, and I think this is a very underrated pickup, and I think this guy is going to be an immediate special team standout. He ran a 4.33 40-yard dash at 6'3", 209 pounds. That is crazy, and I think this is a guy kind of like Marcus Jones. He's primarily going to be on the special teams, but you could put him out at cornerback. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, and he ran a 4.33, so he's obviously very fast. You could see him on offense. I mean, the Patriots love to have these versatile players like Marcus Jones last year, so I'm very excited to see this guy get to work and see what he brings to the Patriots, because I think he's going to bring a lot of versatility and diversity on that team, and I can't wait because I think he's going to be a very explosive player wherever he's at. And then with the final pick in the 2023 draft for the New England Patriots at 245 overall in the 7th round, they took DB Isaiah Bolden, cornerback out of Jackson State. Now, this guy is primarily going to be on special teams. He also ran a 4.33 40-yard dash. He's over 200 pounds. He's a vertical of 38 inches and a broad jump of 10.9. He's an elite athlete, freak athlete. This guy is a guy I could very easily see converted to receiver potentially. Same thing with Ameer Speed. You could put him at DB if you want. I think he will be I think Isaiah Bolden will be more of a special team specialist. I don't think he's going to be as versatile, but you never know with Bill Belichick and how he can turn these versatile players into, cornerbacks, receivers, anything. So I like it. I give both him and Ameer Speed A's. I think they're great value late in the 6th and 7th round. And I'm excited to see them both very explosive, both very freak athlete type players, and I am very excited to see. And special teams was kind of quietly pretty bad for the Patriots last year, so I think it should be on lockdown adding these two guys next year. But yeah, guys, that is it for the 2023 NFL Draft for the Patriots. To sum it up, they went Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, Marte Mapu, Jake Andrews, Chad Ryland, Sidy Sow, Antonio Mafi, Keyshawn Boutte, Bryce Behringer, Demario Douglas, Ameer Speed, and Isaiah Bolden. Overall, I think it was a very solid draft. I would have liked them to see maybe get a pure right tackle. Other than that, though, I was very excited. That defense, I genuinely believe, is going to be one of the best in the league next year. Great secondary, great defensive front, very versatile in the middle of the field. I'm very excited. The special teams got upgraded a lot as well in the 7th and 6th round. Great speed, great versatility in those two players, Ameer Speed and Isaiah Bolden. Could see them at cornerback, could see them at receiver. Who knows? Kind of like Marcus Jones last year. Keyshawn Boutte, I'm excited to see him get to work at receiver. Very good. Versatile, can play slot, can play on the outside. Not the biggest guy in the world, so he might be limited to just a slot. But either way, he's a great player, great hands, great route running skills, and I'm excited to see him bolster that offense. Overall, like I said, I think it was a great draft. And one of my favorite things, too, was the management able to get back, trade 3 spots, get a 4th rounder, get Christian Gonzalez still at pick 17, and fleece the Jets into losing their left tackle potentially in Broderick Jones. Great draft overall. And overall, I would give this draft an A-. I think the Patriots did great, and especially compared to last year. Everyone said the Patriots did horrible last year and a lot of kind of reaches. This year, I think there were some more reaches as well, but I'm excited. I think after seeing how Cole Strange turned out kind of some of the reaches, I have confidence in this team. I have confidence in Bill Belichick, obviously, and I have seen nothing but really positive reviews for the Patriots on social media, which makes me very happy. So I'm very glad. If there's any team you guys want me to do a draft review on, just let me know, and I'll probably do it because I need video ideas for the draft. So comment down below if there's a team you want me to do a draft review on. I just did the Patriots because they're my favorite team. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I hope you guys enjoyed. But thank you guys so much for watching. It's my boy Jay, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.